Fresh Take.
You're listening to the Fresh Take Network.
You are listening to the Fresh Take Network.
What it is, welcome to Fresh Take. Joshua, Adam, William, Arbuthnot. It is the ISO on Put It On The Board Hoops via the Fresh Take Network. Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. I'm a little somber because it is the end of the Edge Invitational, back-to-back solid weeks of men's and women's basketball. It was the women's turn this week, and they did not disappoint. We had some fantastic performances for a variety of athletes. Before we got to the final showcase games of the day for day 3, the men had a private workout and practice for Adrian Wojnarowski. I had the privilege to get to meet Woj. Couldn't be nicer. Got a chance to get a picture with him. I don't get starstruck very often. And when I got a chance when I saw him just walking as I was getting my sheets ready for the rosters, I was like, oh man, that's Woj. So he was gracious enough to take a picture with me. And I got to ask him a question or two, and just an absolute delight. And once again, just kind of showcasing off what Eddie Richardson is doing for the game here, not just in Calgary, but in Canada. And as I said on my Instagram post, yeah, I sound like a broken record every time you hear me on Put On The Board, or if I'm on a radio hit, I'm praising Eddie Richardson for what he's doing for this game or on social media. But I will continue over and over again because I've seen it firsthand at all these events, how he's growing the game. And then this was another side today where you see how he's growing the game, and you're seeing it more and more and more with the athletes that we're having come out, with the coaches that we have coming out, with the conversations that are going around this invitational. This invitational seems like it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and Eddie is a big reason for that. So I will always give him his flowers whenever necessary, because as I've said many times, as someone that grew up in this game in the late 90s to the 2000s, and then had a sister that went through the whole progression of this system on her way to a collegiate level. The game has completely changed now, and now getting to see other family members and the way that they're developed in this system, it is so cool now to know the opportunities that are out there, and Eddie is a big part of setting that up here in Calgary and then stretching it across Canada and North America and to the world. And it all started here now at the Edge and Genesis, and growing and expanding that. And you have an event like the Edge Invitational that is so spectacular, and getting to see so many great athletes. You know, I often say in here how my vast years of broadcast experience, and I've gotten to see players now at all levels here in Canada, at the U Sport level, at Canada West, at ACAC, at CCAA, and I saw some of the best athletes I've seen this weekend at this tournament, some that just blew me away, and then I have no doubt I'm going to see in NCAA tournaments, in U Sport tournaments, and so on and so forth. So let's get to that. Let's talk to some of the athletes that I really stuck out to me, and I'm going right away to Las Vegas, and I got to talk about number 14, Kenzie Holton, who just seemed to be everywhere, just everywhere. Passing skills, fantastic. The ability to get to the basket, fantastic. And also on their team, number 4, Anna Baragon, who could just shoot the lights out of the basketball. I've seen many players be a great three-point shooter, but even specifically today when they were facing Genesis and watching that game, and at times that Genesis game was close, and this Vegas team too, the press that they ran, they will press the heck out of you. Their press got a lot of teams frustrated this week. I know the Edge seemed to be getting frustrated with it. Genesis seemed to get frustrated. Whoever it was getting frustrated with this press. It's a very well-coached team with a lot of great players. I could go through every single player on it. I thought Tatiana Skandrick, she had some really good games, but Kenzie Holton, she really stood out to me, and same with Anna Baragon. She was absolutely lights out from everywhere she went. Ari Brewer too, especially in the third game against Genesis. I thought she really had to stand out. I felt like Addison Carr was everywhere. This Vegas team, man, there is a lot of standouts in that team. I think as an overall team this week, that was the team that impressed me the most was Vegas. I think we're going to talk about these other teams, and all these teams have great players on their team, but the overall team dynamic that I saw in this Las Vegas team, it was great. The chance to see them 3 times in a row was awesome. Just again, the press they had, the defensive presence that they brought, the great ball movement as well. Specifically, you could tell there's so many times too they were just trying to get the ball to number 4, trying to get it to Anna Bargan, and just to see what she could do from deep. And she had an absolute flamethrower from deep. And like I mentioned too with Kenzie, she stood out right in that first game against Notre Dame. She stood out right away in that game. They got out to a pretty big lead against Notre Dame, and they never really looked back. And in the edge game too, I thought she was pretty dominant in that one as well. Like I said, this Vegas team, as far as all the teams, they stood out to me pretty greatly, but I thought Kenzie Holton was one of the big standouts in on that team. And Tatiana Skandrick, I thought in the first game she really stood out against the edge. She had a really good game as well, but tip of the hat to Vegas, man. That was a honor to get to watch that team. That was a really good basketball team that we got to see there. And, it's a team that, they're going to be going back down to the States, down to Vegas. But as a team, I'm going to keep a close eye on because there was a lot of players on this team that I'm like, okay, I could see some of these players in an NCAA tournament in the future, and they're all going to make big splashes. It was a great team. And I know, again, sounding repetitive here, but that's one of the teams that really stuck out to me was Las Vegas. Aubrey Johnson, I thought she was also really good on this team as well. But the big standouts to me were Tatiana Skandrick, I thought was great. Anna Bargan, and then Kenzie Holton, who I think might be the best player I saw all tournament, just on a consistent basis for all 3 games. Let's talk about another team in CBC, the other American team that came up here to the edge. And obviously, when you talk about the California basketball team, got to talk about Jersey Robinson. She was great. You see why the ranking is for what Jersey Robinson is, and it's great that you have this player. There's a point when she was talking to her teammates in the lobby. I'm like, man, that's the 3rd-ranked player in all of North America right now, and she's just having a good time hanging out with her teammates in the lobby. And this is someone that we could see walking down the aisle in the WNBA draft in a few years, and she's right here at the edge participating in this tournament. It's just absolutely fantastic. So many athletes get to see a player of that magnitude, and knowing what we all know is where she's going to go. Really, really rad to get the opportunity to see that. I thought for them, there was a few standouts on their team. Again, Jersey, fantastic player. I want to start with number 1, Amelia Krstevski. I thought she dominated on the glass, dominated in the paint. She was everywhere in that first game, particularly against the edge. I thought she was outstanding, just dominating in the paint, getting rebounds. Also a really good presence of participating and getting the ball out to her teammates. Not too far behind her, I thought Zare Hatter was really good as well. I thought in the third game too against Genesis, she really hit another level. She was good all tournament run, make no mistake about it, but I thought in the Genesis game, she really stood out. It seemed like Jersey had a little bit of an early exit in that game, and I thought Hatter in that one really stepped up and hit another level. Specifically at times in that Genesis game, it looked like it was a little bit closer, and she was a big part of taking that lead against Genesis for that team. I thought Callie Suzuki was great. And let's talk about Delaney White. Anytime, being the MC and then you look down, it's like, who's going to get that shot? Oh, it's Delaney White. And that was the same, too, with Peyton Montgomery. They seem two just very consistent players for this CBC team, just always being in the right spots and always getting buckets. Much like I talked about with Las Vegas and the fantastic defense that they played. Fantastic defense for CBC for sure, but just precision passing and just a great offensive unit. And dare I say the best bench unit in all of the tournament, when I was watching that Genesis game. And I had noticed it for the other games, but just the way that they cheer on their team consistently and get in the action and get in the fun, CBC, one of the best bench units I've seen in multiple years of being in the game of basketball. They really get behind their team, and I love seeing that. That was one of my favorite aspects of watching the California basketball team is how well they cheer on their teammates and get involved and help each other on the court and all of the levels. That was really, really rad. But yeah, the standouts for me from their team, if I had to pick three right now, Zaire Hatter, I thought she was great. Amelia Kursevsky, she was fantastic. And then probably Peyton Montgomery was really consistent. But like I said, Delaney White was just everywhere. She was everywhere all at once, all the time. So that was really rad to see on them. And CBC, can't wait to see them again. Much like Las Vegas as a team, I want to kind of pay attention to because everything they brought here, a lot of fantastic athletes that are going to have a bright future wherever they go. Let's talk about Genesis. Amanda Gus, fantastic for what we were able to see for her. I want to speak about Alfreda Okolie, and specifically in the CBC game, going against great post presence in Kursevsky. I thought she was great. She rebounded the ball really good. She had great post presence in that game. She's in this year's grad year class. Whoever gets an opportunity, and I apologize if she's already clarified for somewhere, but she was fantastic. She was one of the best players I saw in the tournament, just a consistent presence all over the court. I thought she really stood out for this Genesis team. Same with Nicola Miban. I thought she was really good as well. She could hit threes. She can get into the post. She was really, really good, and she's from the class of 2028. So the future is really bright for her. Obviously, game can grow. All these athletes can grow, but her being in the class of 2028, she looked like she was ready to go into the U Sports side of things already. I was really impressed with her game. She has a fantastic inside-outside presence, and I'm really excited to see the next level of where she could go. That Genesis team, that's a really good basketball team, coached by Eddie Richardson. And, they were in a close game against CBC. They were in the Vegas game, and then Vegas and that press started to kind of hit them a little bit down the stretch there. But both those games they were in, and there's a lot of talent on that Genesis roster. So that's another team. If you do live in the Calgary area and you want a chance to see a really quality basketball team, both these next two teams we're going to talk about with the Edge coming up here next, and then Genesis, both those teams are quality basketball teams that have great athletes on your team, and you're going to want to go and check them out. But yeah, I thought those are two players that really stuck out to me. I thought Alfreda, though, Okolie was one of the best players I saw all tournament. She was fantastic. And then finally, we talk about the Edge. And the Edge, man, what a fun week for them. Unfortunately, they didn't win their two games against the American teams. I thought one of the standouts for them was Sadie Secord. She got in foul trouble in the first game, but in the second half started to find some rhythm from downtown, got some rebounds, got to the free throw line a lot. It's the one thing you saw with Sadie this week as she was adjusting, having some of her first games for the Edge this week. She did a really good job of getting to the free throw line, finding her shot, getting in rhythm with her teammates. I thought she did a really good job there. I also really liked the play of Naomi Stavist. I thought she was really good as well. I thought she was fantastic. This whole Edge team, you can kind of just tell with them that really good team chemistry and bonding. It's the one thing I noticed about them, particularly around the tournament this week, is this is the team that gets along really, really well. They had some close games this week. They were able to pick up their win on Sunday, today, as I'm recording this. So that I thought they did particularly well with. I thought Sadie was one of the standouts for them. Really well-coached team as well, coached by Johnny Verone and some other great coaches on that staff as well, doing a great job. And I thought there's a bright future here for the Edge. They're going to get Katie Anderson back, sounds like pretty soon, so that'll be a nice addition to this roster as well. So pretty solid squad here for the Edge. So now, if I had to pick my all-tournament team, right? So we're going to pick 5 players here for my all-tournament team. And I love Vegas, as you know. Like I said, I thought this Vegas team was great. So For the backcourt, we're going to go with Bailey Holton, and we're going to go with Zaire Hatter for my backcourt, what I saw. And then for the front court, I'm going to go with Peyton Montgomery, and I'm going to go with Alfreda Okolie, and I'm going to go with Emily Krstevsky for the top 5 there. And then for my second team, it's a tough because then Sadie had a good week as well. So I kind of want to sneak Sadie into there as well. So it's tough. It's tough to make decisions on this. And then, I kind of look and I'm like, yeah, well, and like I mentioned, I like Delaney, and I thought Addison Carr had a good week as well. So maybe instead of doing an all team, let's do my 3 stars, right? Let's go with 3 stars. So the 3 stars that I have for the tournament, number 1 was Kenzie Holden. Number 2, I thought was Emily Krstevsky. And then number 3, I would have to say is Alfreda Okolie. Those were the top 3 overall players I saw. And then if you wanted to do a team, like I said, there's just so many other choices. Like Zaire Hatter was good. Sadie Secord was good. Peyton Montgomery was really good. Obviously, Jersey, I didn't mention there in any of that. She was good. Tatiana Skandrick, she was good. There were so many top players that it's hard to really hit on just a whole team because they were so good. I could make 2 or 3 teams. I'm going to do a pod with She Plays YYC, I believe, later this week. So maybe when we get to that point, then I can kind of get down to maybe picking the top 5 now, but I'm just kind of picking off the top of my head. I would say, to me, the best player of the Invitational this week, to me, was Kenzie Holden. I thought she was the best overall player I saw from game to game this week. I thought she was absolutely outstanding. And, again, on Jersey Robinson, there's just so many things, too, watching her game that you're just like, oh, yeah, that's why you're the ranking that you are, right? Just the turnaround J that she has, the ability to get to the rim that she has, the defensive presence that she has. You can tell that she has all the right tools that she needs to get to the next level, whatever that next level is after that. So, again, I think it's an absolute treat that so many players got an opportunity to get a chance to see her. But I would say the best player I got to see from a game-to-game basis this week was Kenzie Holden. I thought she was really good. I would say as far as that backcourt goes, the 2 best backcourt players I saw was Zaire Hatter and was Kenzie Holden. I thought they really stood out. And I really, really, if I had to pick a second best player, I thought Amelia Krstevsky was fantastic. Being a former post myself, I'm always going to respect the post players a lot. And I thought Krstevsky did really good. And again, I thought Sadie Secord, she was great as well. I liked Naomi Stavest. I thought she did good as well. And I really liked Alfreda Okolie. And again, that's the thing about an invitation like this that's so cool for someone like me that does call U Sport, does call ACAC action. I love doing these tournaments where you get to see the players that are about to hit that next level because you get to see the future. And then when you get to call a Dinos game and they face someone that's on this team, or if they go to a Dinos or they go to an Ambrose or Sate or whomever, you already have a little bit of history with that athlete and you kind of know what to expect from them. And I expect a lot of these players to be at the next level. And if, I don't call NCAA, but if some of these athletes go to NCAA, and I have no doubt that a ton of them are going to be going to Div 1 to NCAA, you get an opportunity to see them in the women's tournament and beyond. So that's also a really exciting factor to know that you get to see that. And that's what this Edge Invitational is about and what a lot of these other tournaments are about that we're getting to see more and more here in Canada. And again, to kind of go full circle, it's what Eddie Richardson has kind of put down here in Calgary to set up opportunities like that. And it's huge because too, when you go against the best of the best, you get better yourself, right? And I think you saw that a lot of weeks here. Like I think, like I mentioned, I thought like Alfreda Okolie going against someone like Amelia Krstevsky, that's only going to make her a better player because Krstevsky was one of the best post players I've got a chance to see. She's in the class of 2026, so she's going to have a great opportunity to wherever she goes next season. But, I can tell you right now, someone like her, I could see her easily being plopped into a U Sport or ACAC or wherever, and already being a player that can compete on that level. And there's a variety of players. I'm just picking out her right now, but there's a variety of players on that level. I'm like, yeah, I could see them hit that level right now. And you know what's really cool too is just to see the scouts out there getting to evaluate this talent and make those decisions of who they want to go after, who they think they can go after, and who's going to go to the next level. And I really just want to finish too, just saying everyone at the Edge this week and the last 2 weeks, just great. I mentioned it the prior podcast, but the coaching staff and everyone associated with the Edge is fantastic. Every parent or athlete that came up to me to have a conversation and give me a compliment, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's an honor and a privilege. Like I've said many times, it's a very humbling and fun time to get to do events like this in 13 or whatever many years of broadcasting. It has been, and it never gets old. You know, I did this last year and getting to watch, you know, like a Cole Beasley last year and get to see what he did in Jersey played last year as well. And now you get to go to this year and you get to see everybody grow and hit their next level. And, you know, for me, if I get to be a small part of that and I get to do an introduction or call your name when you hit a big layup or a three or whatever you do, and you're appreciative of that, then I'm appreciative of you. I really thank you, and I'm excited to see where we get going here. We're in the thick of things now. We are getting ready to hit a big point of basketball. We got games coming up here in less than a month in the ACAC. You understand that? And as I'm trying to scramble here to get the schedule here, we have a tournament coming up in Calgary this week, starting on Thursday. We have St. Mary's hosting 2 games against CBC, and then Ambrose will be hosting games against Augustana. And then on the Friday, at Ambrose, St. will take on the Kings, starting at 10 a.m. and 12. And then we have Ambrose hosting Augustana and Mary's. And then Ambrose also hosting CBC and Keanu. And then on the Saturday, we will have Ambrose hosting, and they're taking on the Kings. And then they're also hosting Keanu, taking on Mary's. And then they're hosting CBC, taking on St. And then finally on the Sunday, St. will host, and they are taking on Keanu. So we're going to get an opportunity to see some of the men's and the women's teams from around the Calgary area this week at St. Mary's, at Ambrose, and at St. I'm going to try to make it out to some of those events and kind of just do the same thing we did here. This is the goal this year, is to give you that outlet to say what I saw, what athletes I liked, what performances I liked, and kind of have that feedback. And, you know, for anyone that wants to give feedback, you can always email at jawa31@gmail.com. Send us a DM on Put on the Board or Jawa31, my personal Instagram as well. I'm happy to take anything you want to hear more of or whatever else. So feel free to send messages that way. I'm more than happy to take all of that in. So it's a wonderful time of year, right? You know, we have this week. I believe we're around the corner from the Calgary Cup that the Dinos host. The Raptors are about to be in town as well. So if you're a basketball fan in Calgary, it's about to get very, very exciting, right? Obviously, these prep teams now, like the Edge, their seasons are getting started. Shout to WCPA from Edmonton. They had a game today as well. Some great athletes on that team as well. I didn't get to talk about them as much. I only got one game to see them, so I couldn't evaluate as much as I wanted to on their team, but some really good players on that team as well. It wasn't like the prior week with the men where I got to see them a few more times and really having a chance to evaluate. And I understand my evaluations aren't going to be as good as a lot of the scouts are. I'm just kind of looking at a lot of base level of stuff. So please appreciate that the best that you can. I'm just happy to be here, give a platform, and talk about stuff the best that I can. And like I said, I am planning to do a pod with She Plays YYC this week, and we're going to talk about the Edge Invitational as well, and what she saw, what she liked, and can do more of a conversation. This was just kind of this is what I call the ISO. It's a solo podcast, some thoughts of what I saw that happened, and again, Shouts to the Edge Invitational, just a great platform. And I can't believe the 2 weeks are gone already. It's a bummer, but already counting down the days and the months and the seconds and the minutes until we get to do it all again next year in 2026. So that'll be it for me as we count down the minutes and the seconds here in this podcast. I'm Joshua Adam William Arbuthnot. Thanks everyone for listening. Until next time, folks, cheers. Enjoy the day, people.